Fantastic. Let's start with the Mangala charm. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Svapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Dehivam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going to resume with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Achidyoyam adahoyam aklidyo sosya evacha nitya sarva gatastanur achaloyam sanatana. This individual soul is unbreakable, insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, all-pervading, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Purport. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole, and he remains the same atom eternally without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. After liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word sarvagata, all-pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless. So this is the end of the purport. Basically, there's also this, it's talking about how it's preferable to leaving samsara to become an eternal associate of Krishna, rather than merging into the Brahma Jyoti, which is, I think we remember there were three different realizations of who Krishna is. Brahman, which is the effulgence, it's like the rays of the sun. There's also Paramatma, which is within all of us, within every soul in all of existence. And there is Bhagavan, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, him and his direct plenary expansion. So you have Krishna, Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Nrsingadev, and also from there you have further expansions such as Lord Vishnu and the other members of Das Avatar, like Matsya, the fish avatar, Korma, the turtle avatar, and there's like 10 different ones in that
That always I don't get. I thought there were so many more.
There are, but I think
They don't have a job that way. It's like that their job, they have specific jobs, kind of, right?
Well,
Those ones that
these
you're
are the
talking about.
avatars that he's talking about. So there's Krishna, there's Nrsingadev.
Yes.
So to us and our sampradaya, these are like the top players. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
this-
show us.
Okay, one second. This, let me see, I can't get a good look. That's Matsya,
yeah.
the fish avatar. That is Kurma, the turtle avatar. He's holding the world.
Do you know what these incarnations are?
I-
Do yoga teacher training or no?
No.
Okay.
All right, so the world starts, and Matsya. Wait, is it Korma first?
No, Matsya's first, then Kurma.
Matsya the fish, and then Korma the turtle carries the earth on its back. Then what happens? Then
Varaha,
Varaha comes, Lord.
as a boar.
So that's when.
That's where that comes in.
Yeah.
And he defeats Hiranyaksha, the brother of Hiranyakashipu. And
And
then
then Nrsinga comes and beats Hiranyakashipu.
a Lord Vamana is the dwarf Brahmin.
Who steals the 3 tracts of land?
He
I
he
heard
he's,
that.
Heard that at
yes.
Wisdom of the Sages.
He takes all of Bali Maharaj's kingdom, and Bali Maharaj is a descendant of Prahlad Maharaj. And then you have Parashuram. Parashuram is he has an axe. He's a Brahmin who is very proficient in fighting, and he defeats all the corrupt Kshatriyas at that time. And actually, I think I read something somewhere that there were a handful of Kshatriyas that escaped and they went to Iran.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. And also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Lord Ramachandra that we know from Ramayana.
Right.
Right.
And there's Lord Balaram, who is the brother of Krishna, and also Buddha. Buddha is the 9th avatar.
This is Buddha?
That's Buddha. The 10th avatar is Kalki, who appears at the end of Kali Yuga to defeat all the corrupt rulers, pretty much to cleanse the world of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was
want
alive
that.
to see that.
I honestly,
Can you just put that in the camera so people know?
I personally don't wish that I'm alive to see
No,
that
I
because
know.
At the end of Kali Yuga, you think it's bad now? I don't know if I should say this.
oh, you can say it. I mean,
I'll tell you later, but at the end of Kali Yuga, things are so bad, like it's nothing like this. It's 10 times worse than this.
At the end.
Yeah.
So
At least
before
10
it gets better, it gets worse.
Yeah.
There is a chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, where it basically explains just how horrible it's going to get.
Total devastation.
I can send that. You
Yeah,
can read it.
I'm gonna go home and read.
Yeah, I'll send
Why?
that to you.
I don't know, but.
What are you gonna read? The
Can't
12.
talk-
Oh.
Yeah.
Srimad
I'm just gonna-
Bhagavatam.
I'll do like a. Sometimes it'll
I
just
have to
give
get
you like a
that
summary
that
of.
version, that
This
book.
book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really nice. I think
Can
yeah,
you- Yeah.
there might have been a recent court ruling where they're not making the original anymore.
Oh, why?
I'm not sure because they were fighting
We
with
should
the
pick some
BBT.
up then.
Yeah, and I had the original Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I can't find it, so I may have to buy it again. I need an original Srimad Bhagavatam, and I'd like to get a few more of those. But anyway, yeah.
I always hope to find them at the old ones in the thrift store.
I was buying them one at a time on eBay, but it was getting expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
original-
But you
always-
can't get it in the online on the Krishna store.
You were at some point. I haven't checked lately. I'm thinking of just buying out all their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So those avatars, they're
Incarnations.
Incarnations come around
through the
every
different
time.
yugas.
Okay.
They start at the
'Cause-
beginning and go around.
So that what was the last one?
Kalki.
Kalki. So Kali Yuga has happened before.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And Kalki will come at the end of this Kali Yuga. But we're just starting Kali Yuga. Like people who say, "Oh, the end of the world's coming in."
Yeah.
No, we're not. We're 5,000 years into it. It
It's
goes
about
for
427,000 years.
yeah.
So then, at the end of Kali Yuga, it starts over, I guess, right?
Then
With the
Satya
turtle.
Yuga comes back. Yeah.
There's only one thing that happens unique to this Kali Yuga. It's the appearance of Sri
Lord
Chaitanya
Chaitanya.
Mahaprabhu.
So we're lucky that even though this is Kali Yuga, we've all taken birth within a window of time that Lord Chaitanya was on this planet. You know, like I always use Columbus as the example because that's what we learned in history in 1492. Well, in
Yeah.
1450 something, Lord Chaitanya was in Mayapur doing kirtan in a Muslim country, you know, risking his life and converting people to love Krishna. And we're alive, you know, like, oh wow, America was beyond America being discovered. The whole face of the planet was changed by that chanting.
What year was
True.
that?
The like 1450s.
You know, I thought it's a little later than that, but let me just confirm that.
Yeah, it's like right within that time frame. You know,
Wow.
everyone's like talking about discovery and this and that. Meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya's on the other side of the
Sri
planet,
Chaitanya.
Yeah.
converting Muslims and like
Kinda
risking his
crazy,
life
right?
and yeah, and we don't learn about that here. It's not
No.
part of our culture.
So Mahaprabhu appeared February 18th, 1486.
Wow, right on.
So I would say
Yeah.
the Sankirtan wouldn't have begun until I would say like a little past
20 years
like 1500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's remarkable. And it's remarkable that we were able to take birth. Who knows, like, if we took birth in another 50 years, well, I'm sure because the devotees are carrying on this tradition, but if Prabhupada hadn't come and Prabhupada hadn't taught all of us about Lord Chaitanya would still only be known on the other side of the world.
Right.
Like everyone in India knows about Lord Chaitanya,
Mhm.
but no one here did, and now we do, you
Mhm.
know. And look at look at the Hare Krishnas. Like you guys are younger, but when I was a kid and the Hare Krishnas were doing Sankirtan in the streets, oh my God, it was like, lock those people up. They're
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
They're no good. They're paupers. And now it's like people are running to yoga studios. People are relishing hearing the Bhagavatam and the Gita, because like over the years I really believe it's from people chanting and Prabhupada coming and you know the vibration shifting in this country. Like what did Prabhupada say? The English came to India and took everything except Krishna, and I came to give you Krishna. You know, so it's like, yeah, we live in a really special time that
Yeah.
hopefully we won't see Kalki. Hopefully we'll go back to Vishnu Loka or Loka Vrindavan.
Yeah.
There have been some acharyas who have said that Kalki will not appear in this Kali Yuga.
Really?
Because we can stop it.
Right.
We can stop anything with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Just think about it. We have so many world leaders right now that are fighting and fighting and fighting. If all of them open their hearts and listen to the message of the Bhagavad Gita and felt what we felt when we go into the temple, how different the world would be.
Yeah.
And that's not impossible. And it can happen through sound vibration. I keep watching all this stuff about the pyramids and this and everything is sound vibration, everything's created by sound. Well, don't we say that every week in Kirtan, and don't we feel that when we chant japa? So what's the limit to it? There is no limit. Even the government uses sound vibration. All these weapons they've been shooting off, it's all sound vibration.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like coming up with all these. No, but it's true. I was thinking about it yesterday. That I wonder what it's going to be like 50 years from now. Is there going to be a change and all this hate and
They say the next 5
destruction?
years astrologically is going to be really difficult. 5 years. And
Wow.
then after that, things are going to start, things are shifting already.
Right.
Things are definitely shifting already.
People,
but-
like even just, people are, I even watch some reality TV shows. I pop in and out with my children. And even how young people are talking and aware of like energy and, you know, it's already changing. Like, you know, but we have our work cut out for us.
We do.
I also sometimes wonder with that. I can get turned off by that because I don't feel like they really get it and they're just saying it.
I think they're getting curious about what,
Yeah.
like Albert Einstein was trying to talk about, like how everything is energy. How you push your energy out, like things like that. And this is energy based. Like when you do kirtan, like just think about the energy in that room. Think about that energy that stays in this room after a kirtan. It's real. And this changes my energy as a human being, how when we do these studies, and I, you know, and what the rest of my Sunday feels like.
Yeah.
So, you know, even if they're getting a little taste of it.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
But basically, what we can do is proliferate the spirituality to whoever we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Text 25.
Wow, we're really cruising.
Yes, we are. Avyakto yamachintyo yam avikaryo yam uchate tasmadevam viditvainam nanu sochitum arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, immutable, and unchangeable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Purport. As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul. Although it is a fact by perception, there are many things we have to accept solely on the grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother. There is no other source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no other source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness and conscious. That also is the statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no change in the soul. As eternally unchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is infinite, and the atomic soul is infinitesimal. Therefore, the infinitesimal soul, being unchangeable, can never become equal to the infinite soul, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This concept is repeated in the Vedas in different ways just to confirm the stability of the conception of the soul. Repetition is something repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error. End of purport. Mhm. So, I mean, not only is the soul eternal, no beginning, no end, it's unchangeable. And so to what I take from this, it means that there's, like, for example, let's say we go through something extremely traumatic in life, something like that really hurts us to our core. We're not going to take that, it may hurt us in our current body. We may go through some grief and some pain, but in the next life, the slate is wiped clean, You're not going to remember what happened in your previous life. If we remembered everything that happened in our previous lives, we would be overloaded with trauma. We would be walking we would have massive PTSD.
Like we can't remember our births for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
We can't remember being in our mother's womb for a reason. But it tells you in the Bhagavatam what happens during those times, and you wouldn't want to be remembering that stuff.
Right.
Plus, I heard, do you know who Sadhguru, not Sadhguru, Puja Bhagavati from Param-Nikatan Ashram in Rishikesh? She's this really nice guru, and yesterday she was saying how, our bodies change every 7 years. We get new cellular bodies. So we're not the same person that we were when we were 10 or 11 or 13 or even a couple of years ago. But our soul's the same. So we always feel young. We always feel, and we can also always carry our problems with us. Like she was abused as a young girl, and when she was talking to her guru for the first time, he said, so when are you going to let this go? You're not that girl anymore. Your body has changed. You're 30-something years old, 25 years old now. This happened to you when you were a teenager or a young girl. Are you going to take this to your grave? Or are you going to let it go today? So you have that choice. We can carry all the wrongs that we've experienced in life right up to our grave, but what does that do for us? That holds us back so much. But if you learn that, I'm not the same girl I was when I was married. I'm not that abused woman, I'm a whole different woman. So do I see Maha now, or do I carry the old Maha with me? She's still a little bit with me, but, you have to see the evolution of your body and your cells and recognize that this is also temporary. We're always, every breath, we're changing. So every breath is an opportunity to do everything in service to Krishna and to let go of the stuff that holds us back. Not that I'm so good at this, but I'm good at the
You're
talk.
You're very good at explaining it, definitely.
You're practicing it though.
Right,
As
it's
soon as you
always
hear
practice.
something like that, you're gonna practice it.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not perfect at it, but you're practicing.
So I was told, though, that we do take those things with us. Because it becomes part of our consciousness, which is covering the soul. And then when you go to the next birth, that is part of you.
Well, the point of this was, if you hold on to it, you're taking it with you. You have that choice to let go of it. Let go of those memories, let go of those feelings, let go of I was wronged, and just keep going. You have a new life now, you have new opportunities now. Don't let the old things hold you back, and you're not that person that you were 10 years ago. You're not making the mistakes you were making 10 years ago.
Right.
You're making new ones.
Right.
You're making enlightened
Much
ones.
better mistakes.
Yeah.
Different.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's really true. Different mistakes.
Yeah.
These mistakes and those mistakes.
I mean,
I'll take these.
The things that we do now, it may manifest in our next life in terms of parabdha karma, certain trials or difficulties that we will deal with in the next life. But once we kind of pay that out, then then we're clean. But then of course there may be new things that we do in that next life. So that is what perpetuates the cycle.
Right.
Yeah. So we just have to, this process, by going through this process, we can eliminate that eternal cycle by, when the more we devote our life to Krishna, to our spiritual lives, the less room there is to create more karma for us to overcome in subsequent lives. And to some degree, it is forgiven, based on the mercy of Radha and Krishna. Okay. Ata chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mritam tatapitvam mahabhaho nainam sochitum arhasi. If, however, you think that the soul is perpetually born and always dies, still you have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Purport. There is always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as Lokayatikas and Vaishbhasikas. These philosophers maintained that life symptoms or soul takes place at a certain mature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and materialist philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is a combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage the life symptoms develop by interaction of the physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo-religions, now becoming fashionable in America, are also adhering to this philosophy, as well as to the nihilistic, non-devotional Buddhist sects. Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vaibhasika philosophy, there would still be no cause for lamentation. No one laments the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty. On the other hand, in modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhasika philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul, or whether he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament. According to this theory, since there are so many living entities generating out of matter every moment, and many of them are being vanquished every moment, there is no need to grieve for such an incident. However, since he was not risking rebirth of the soul, Arjuna had no reason to be afraid of being affected with sinful reactions due to his killing his grandfather and teacher. But at the same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna as Mahabahu, mighty armed, because he at least did not accept the theory of the Vaibhasikas, which leaves aside the Vedic wisdom. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna belonged to the Vedic culture, and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles. So, yeah, it was a little complicated. So it's like basically assuming arguendo that the soul is not permanent, there is still no reason to lament. But I imagine that would be difficult for a lot of people
Right.
to kind of take in. But
It's so much easier to believe, to understand that the body is just carrying that soul, and
Yeah.
the soul will continue. But why would it be okay to kill if you believe that the soul does not go on. I don't understand why he's saying that it's still okay.
No, he's talking about the result of it, that because our lineage believes that we're gonna end up with Krishna and become servants of Krishna is one thing, but in this it's saying we're not gonna just merge into the Brahman effulgence and become nothing. Is that what they're trying to say? It is confusing.
My take on it was that if the soul is destroyed, then really what do we have to lament, because we're going to die anyway. That's what I got from it. Yeah.
Right. So at some point, right. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're all going to die. It's just a matter of timing, and if it, I guess it, you should not to lament, because whether it's today or tomorrow, it's still going to happen.
Right. Yeah, there's no way for the Bodhijivas to attain immortality. I mean, we see this in the news. Immortality is coming by 2030, you know? Right? But really, is it? I don't know.
But don't some religions believe that? Like in Judaism, don't they believe when you die, that's it?
You know, that's a good question. Judaism, I think there seems to be a conception of a life after this in the Old Testament. But you're good points. I think a lot of them do.
I think they just don't believe that Jesus had a full body resurrection. I think that's where they.
I think for themselves too. They think you go on the ground and that's it.
Yeah.
But in the First Testament, don't they talk about spirit soul after death?
You know, honestly,
and they feel like their Messiah
hasn't
come yet, but I don't think that's almost atheistic if they feel like you're dead and that's it. No.
Well, the Catholics kind of think the same thing. You die, your body goes in the ground, and then when Jesus comes back, then you're resurrected. But if you don't believe in Jesus,
then, you're not.
Yeah, then what happens?
You're.
Yeah. So that's
you go into
ridiculous.
hell. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think this is an element in both Christianity and Islam, that if you don't do certain things, or if you don't, adhere to the religion, then there will be hellfire to pay.
Yeah, and in our Sampradaya, we believe that the soul is going to just go to the next body or the next consciousness
or you just.
Yeah, but we've worked our whole lives, whether good or evil. We all have a focal point in this lifetime, and that's what we're working for. And I feel like in this philosophy, we're all trying to be good yogis and get closer to Krishna and be kinder to people. So hopefully we'll be elevated. Whereas someone who's like just a financial hound and is just like building his house and his popularity and having materialism, like that's a whole different realization at the end of your lifetime.
But isn't our goal not to come back and be not to come back and live this human existence again in another body?
But
the goal
get rid of all your desires first.
The goal is to have an eternal relationship with Radha and Krishna.
Right.
We can't do that until we eliminate our base desires of being in this material world.
Like being human.
I mean,
or even just having wants and needs. Like you have things that you need to survive, and then you have things that you want in your life.
Right.
The wants sometimes get in the way of life.
Right.
And can pull you completely away from your devotional path. Whereas like you need to earn money to have a home and support your family and everything, but you can put that in a service attitude, like I'm doing this so my children are safe and we have a roof over our head, and that's your service to your children, because those are really Krishna's children that he's put in your charge to take care of. So you're doing your dharmic path by
And shouldn't you be giving, shouldn't you always be giving a portion of your money, like, to the Brahmins?
Mhm.
Like, 'cause that's what they did in the
Mhm.
Mahabharata. Like, if they, like, first they would get, like, the gold and all of that, and it was like, okay, now we have to distribute, and it always first went to the Brahmins. Like, shouldn't that be a part of our life, whether
Yeah.
we're, like,
you can give a donation to the temple, or
Right.
go through the temple and find an orphanage to support, or yeah, but it helps you to give that pinch.
mm-hmm.
Let yourself feel it, like, oh, this is money I could have bought shoes with,
Right.
but I'm gonna go give it to the deities instead. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to remind you, it's not all for us, and you'll feel better too.
Yeah, I just don't think, for myself, I know I'm gonna have many more lifetimes to get to that place.
You don't know that.
You don't know.
You could
We
be
really
on your
don't.
deathbed, we could all be standing around chanting to you, and that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
Well, I feel like maybe if that happens, then I have a better opportunity to be born into a family of
Right.
devotees and live another life of just
You're
complete.
Actually, can I answer
Tell her the
this?
story of
Sure.
Ajamil.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
that's exactly what I was gonna.
The story of Ajamil.
You know what? You can do it.
All right,
It's just
so
in your
this is
mind.
how I base my life. Because I feel like you, like I have so many wants, desires, needs, lusts, everything. How am I ever going to get out of here? But there's a story in the Srimad Bhagavatam about Ajamil, and he was once.
Do you know how to spell that? Just so when I
AJAMILA.
Start again.
Sorry. AJAMILA.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I really believe this story is more for us reading the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Even though he had a glorious ending, this story is for us.
Yes.
So he started out as a Brahmin, and he was really steadfast in his devotion. Then he got married, and then he started to get a little sidetracked, right?
Well, I mean, if I could be wrong, but I think he was married, and then he kind of like went with a prostitute
Yeah,
after that.
he was really good in the beginning of his life, doing
Yeah.
all the things.
He-
And then
yeah.
he was married, and he couldn't have children.
Right.
So, he got sidetracked with that, and then he finds a prostitute. And then he and the prostitute have a child, and they call the child Narayan. And he loves this child more than anything. And Narayan is a name for Krishna.
Right.
So on his deathbed, he wants to see his son. He's not thinking about Krishna. He wants to see his son. And he's calling, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Well, Krishna and his name are non-different. We say it every week in Kirtan. The power of the holy name is that great. There's no difference between saying Krishna and Krishna sitting right here, So he's calling for Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And at the time of death, the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas decide like where you're going to go next. So the Yamadutas are the servants of King Yamaraj, and he's in charge of death. If you've led a sattvic life, you don't really have to worry about him, because you're probably going to be chanting at the end of your life. And that's when the Vishnu Dutas come. So he, because of his confused background of back and forth with his lifestyle, the Yamadutas come first. But because he's crying so sincerely for Narayan, the Vishnu Dutas come, and they like literally put the brakes on and go, no, you can't touch him. You cannot touch him. And they're like, they're arguing about his past and his desires and his forgetfulness, and the Vishnu Dutas are saying it doesn't matter. Right this moment, he's about to leave his body. Right this moment, all he wants is Narayan. So that's how we have to live our lives.
His real desire was for another person.
And
Right.
even,
Right.
but the
But the
power of the
name,
holy name
the
is so
name.
strong. So You got to have a contract in your house that devotees are going to be around you when you're sick.
That's going to be my
this-
that thing you put on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
This is the power of Nama Sankirtan. The name of Krishna is non-different than Krishna himself. And actually, when my mother passed away, I had kirtan playing for her at that moment. So,
Yeah.
And I made a little mistake. Ajamil was not married prior. I don't know what made me think that, but yeah, he just.
So he was just. I also heard a story about. I shouldn't even say it because I'm not clear on the details, but there was. I think he was a Brahmin who became addicted to a prostitute.
Oh, and he poked his eyes out.
Bilva Mangala Thakur.
Bilva Mangala Thakur. We know.
I know.
Yes, let's.
While you were
We
talking,
know all
I
these
said,
stories.
They'll
So
clear it up for you.
he was just he was an old Brahmin, right?
Yes.
And,
I'm pulling up his bio now.
He became very attached to a prostitute, and
Was the prostitute's name Chamrita? And
Chintamani.
Chintamani.
I can't remember. So yeah, is she the one that said, "Wait for me 5 days"?
I'm not sure. I don't know the details. I mean, I could read the whole story, but
Is he the one that when the prostitute when he said how attached he was to her, she said, "Oh, you love my body so much, and give me 5 days." And she fasted and took diuretics for like 5 days. She purged. She threw up. She had
I think that's a different story.
Oh,
I think
and
that's
then- And
Yeah.
then when the man comes back, she's like, "You still want me?
Right.
This is me," you know.
Did you just talk
Can
about this up in Super Soul, that story?
I brought it up. There's something by
You
Srila
may have
Prabhupada.
heard it on
I can read it
Wednesday,
for everybody
but
if
they
you want.
can't talk about it.
Can
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Would you like me to read about Bilva Mangala Thakur?
Okay.
Okay. This is the experience of Bilva Mangala Thakur. He was a South Indian Brahmana, very rich Brahmana, but by bad association or something like that, he became a very staunch prostitute hunter. So he engaged all his income, money, everything after one prostitute. Her name was Chintamani. So it is a very nice story. I'm briefly describing. So one night, every night, he was to go to that prostitute, and one night it was very terribly raining. So the prostitute thought, now this night Bilva Mangala is not coming. It is terribly raining. But Bilva Mangala went there, crossing the river, and the door was closed. He jumped over the door, catching a snake. In this way, very dangerously, he reached the prostitute's house. And the prostitute was astonished. How is this condition? You could come here. Oh, you are so much attracted to this skin. If this much attraction you would have to Krishna, how it would have been nice for you. So immediately he left the prostitute's house and went to Vrindavan. The fact is, in his previous life, he executed devotional service up to Bhava Bhakti. So his Chintamani, that prostitute, became his guru to remind him that you are so much fond of that prostitute. If this attraction would have been to Krishna, how much successful you would have. So it acted. He left to Vrindavan and lived for several hundred years. Okay. I guess, yeah. So he has a book, Krishna Karnamrita, Bilva Mangala Thakur. That is recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for reading, Krishna Karnamrita. So in that book, he writes, Bhakti Stvai Stitaratra Bhagavan Yadi Syat. If we have got that fixed up devotion unto you, my Lord, Bhagavan, then Daivena Naha Palati Divya Kishora Murti. Then very easily we can see your form, Divya Kishora Murti. Your divine form, Kishora Murti, very young boy. Krishna is always Kishore. Krishna's other name is Kishore, Kishora Murti. Kishora means Kaishora, before marriage, before 11th to 16th year. This is called Kishora age. So Kishora Murti, Krishna is always Kishora Murti. So by devotional service, one can see the Kishora Murti of Krishna very easily. Bhaktistvai stiratara Bhagavan yati syat. If it is possible, then very easily we can see you. Just want to say something real quick. So how we were talking in the earlier verse about how we all change over the years. I mean, also we can see that, Krishna is eternal, but he goes through these pastimes where he is aging. I mean, he doesn't look more than, let's say, 20, even by the events of the Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
He's like well over 100, I think, at that point. But he goes through these different stages, like Kishora, or like Mathura Krishna, where he's in Mathura, then he's in Dwarka, and so much opulence. Then he has another form, or his form, and when he goes to describe the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So just as we change over the years, Krishna does, but it's part of the pastime, it's part of the Leela as he goes through this world. When he's in the spiritual world, then there is no change because the spiritual world's eternal.
So in Vrindavan, he's always a cowherd boy, like a baby,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it goes
till 10.
Okay, till 10.
Baby to Kishore, yeah. I just want to really quickly finish this up. When Bilvamangala Thakur was in Vrindavan, he voluntarily plucked out his eyes because he was very much fond of seeing beauty of women, so he thought. These eyes are my enemies, so he personally plucked out his eyes. When he was going to Vrindavan, still he became attracted by a woman, and therefore that woman, of course, was a very rich merchant's wife. So she told her husband, that man is coming after me, what to do? So that merchant received him. Oh, he's a saintly person. All right, you serve him. So Bilvamangala Thakur came to his senses. He said, Mother, you give me the pins of your hair. So I am so much after the beauty of women, let me pluck out the eyes.
Yikes.
So he made himself voluntarily blind. So he could not see, but still Krishna was coming in Vrindavan. Krishna is always in Vrindavan, so he was supplying milk. So Divya Kishore Murti. He practically realized through bhakti. Therefore, he wrote by his personal experience, Bhaktistvai stiratara Bhagavan yadisya daivena naha palati divya Kishora Murti. And so far, Dharmartha Kama Moksha, Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.41. Moksha Murti Svayam Mukulit Tanjali Sevate Asman. Mukti is not very important thing. She is always standing at my service. Mukuli Tanjali, with folded hands. Mukti, my dear sir, what can I do for you? This is Mukti's position. So, I mean, it sounds really extreme to pluck out your eyes, but according to that, I think he had a previous, realization. He had some scars from a previous life where I think it said he was in Bhava Bhakti. In a previous life, he executed devotional service up to Bhava Bhakti.
It's almost the
That is the step before prema. So it's like the step before the final step. He was very, very close. And I think it was the same with, what's his name, Bharati Maharaj.
But
he was in
still
Bhav as
came
well.
back, his next life still came back with all these desires, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah, he made it to Bhav, and yes, he still came back because of that.
Right.
But that was his last comeback, because then at the end, like he
was
realized,
completely
right,
right.
like he just
But
had to get that little
took a long
bit,
time to get there.
Yeah.
that little bit.
I mean,
And the prostitute also was a devotee, and they spoke about her and other prostitutes, how their circumstances in life didn't affect their devotion. So they were not held back because of being a prostitute, because they still were so devoted.
They were still
Right.
doing that bhakti thing.
So Krishna doesn't judge you in that way.
I think it's pretty much whatever you do, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I mean, Krishna is not directly judging you.
Right.
However, there are certain things that can happen in your life that can trigger the causeless mercy of Krishna. There is like, what do you call it? Like, for example, with Ajamil, you can hear the holy name when you pass. Then you're guaranteed to go to the spiritual world. And also, I mean, the whole process of doing devotional service and becoming a devotee. That in that way, I mean, you'll still have your prarabdha karma to deal with, but it many times will become mitigated if you are a devotee. I mean, that's the benefit. It's
Right.
like being a Gold Star member at Costco, because you get some money for your purchases,
Right.
you can apply those to your previous purchases.
That's a good analogy.
Thank you.
Oh man.
I'm trying to use these analogies that pop in my head.
But
Yeah.
it works. You
Yeah.
know, it's good. You could
Mhm.
visualize it. You can
Yeah,
understand it.
right.
Where did we leave off today? Are we starting, if however you...
We did 3 verses. I think the next one
What
will
is-
be 227.
Yeah.
Oh, we
next
did
week.
226, okay.
Yeah.
I just...
We did 3 verses today. Because I think what happened was 223 really started this conception of the eternal soul. We did a lot of discussion last week, so this was mainly follow-up.
Right.
So we were already informed about these concepts, so we didn't have to really discuss them as much as we did previously. So I think at some point it is going to shift, and then maybe we'll spend more time on a single verse.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally see, like, we don't have to really go through so many verses, or, I mean, it doesn't matter either way. The important thing is that you're all getting something out of this, that you're learning something.
Yeah.
So anytime you have a question, even if you're thinking maybe it's like a stupid question or whatever, just ask.
I'm
'cause
always thinking it's a stupid
Don't
question.
don't ever think that.
Yeah.
Never
but I
think
still
that.
ask it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, 'cause
How are
that's
you gonna
we get
learn
the
if you don't
answers.
ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we get our answers.
It's,
Well, I'm excited for you guys.
Me too.
Yeah.